welcome to another reading lesson with Miss Meadows. I'm so excited to be reading with you today. We are going to be reading a really fun story today, but first things first, we need to start with our vocabulary. But first, you do not need your My Book today because we are just doing a read aloud story for you to listen to. So our first vocabulary word today is scientist. Say scientist. Very good. Now, scientist is a noun or a person, place, or thing word. A scientist is a person who asks questions and tries hard to find out facts about the word. So, for example, a botanist is a type of scientist that studies plants, which is what we see right here as a botanist. So a scientist may conduct experiments to find out how to cure diseases. Our next word is height. Say height. Very good. Height is a noun or a person, place, or thing word. The height of something is how tall it is. So, for example, my mom likes to keep track of my height by marking my growth on a wall. The next word is energy. Say energy. Very good. Energy is a noun or a person, place, or thing word. Energy is the power that plants, animals, and people need to live and grow. So we get energy from the foods we eat, which gives us the power to have energy to jump, like in a jump rope, like in the picture. Our next word is weigh. Say weigh. Very good. Weigh is a verb or an action word. If you find out what things weigh, you are finding out how heavy they are. So the doctor may use a scale to find out how many pounds you weigh. The next word is protect. Say protect. Very good. Protect is a verb or an action word. When you protect something, you keep it safe. So, for example, we protect the dishes by wrapping them before our move. Wrapping them in bubble wrap protects them from breaking. And our last word is produces. Say produces. Very good. Produces is a verb or an action word. If a tree produces fruit, it makes the fruit by growing it. So, for example, this tree produces oranges that people can come and pick and then squeeze or eat. Produces. Very good. Kiss your brain. Because we are moving on to our anchor chart today, which is one of my favorites. It's on text features. Say text features. Very good. So we see that right here, text features. And we have 4 different examples of text features, which means authors choose text and graphic features to help explain ideas or to help readers locate information. So our first example is captions. Say captions. Captions are words or sentences about a picture. So if you see a picture here, the caption will be underneath it and it will describe the picture. The next example is diagrams. Say diagrams. Diagrams are pictures with labels that tell what each part is. So this diagram here is a diagram of a house, and you can see different labels like roof, window, and door that label the different parts of the picture of the house. The next one is headings. Say headings. Headings tell what part of a text is about. So here we see this part. There's a picture of a bird, and then here are the words, and the heading is right here in a bigger size font, and it would tell what you are going to be reading about. And last one is maps. Say maps. Maps are small pictures of big places. So they are small pictures that show us a bigger place. So you could have a map of a city, a map of a country, or a map of the world, like on our globe. Very good. So with all that in mind, we're going to move on to our story today, which is called Amazing Plant Bodies. Tiny to Gigantic is the title of our story today. By Ellen Lawrence is the author or the person who writes the words. From looking at this picture, we've got amazing plant bodies, tiny to gigantic. I see a picture of a really gigantic plant here, and I can tell from the title and the cover of our book that we are going to be reading about plants today. Here we have our table of contents. That means that it tells you what heading is going to be on what page. So on page 4, we'll be reading about an amazing discovery. On page 6, we'll be reading about giant plants, tiny plants. So if you were specifically looking to learn about the biggest flower, you would know to go to page 14 to find that out. That's the purpose of the table of contents. Let me move myself. Alrighty. Our heading here says an amazing discovery. In 2006, scientist Steve Sillett climbed a very tall redwood tree. At the top of the tree, he held one end of a tape measure to the tree's tip. He let the other end drop to the ground. Hundreds of feet below Steve, another scientist recorded the redwood's height. The tape measure showed the tree was just over 379 feet, or 116 meters tall. Steve had just climbed the tallest tree in the world. So our caption under this picture here says, Steve Sillett climbing a giant redwood tree. So it describes what's in our picture. And we have a label right here pointing to the tree that says a redwood tree, which describes what we see in that picture. This says the redwood tree that Steve climbed in 2006 is named Hyperion. At that time, it was the tallest tree in the world. In the future, however, an even taller tree might be discovered. Hyperion grows in Redwood National Park in California. California is a state just like New York, but it's on the other side of our country, of the United States of America. You can see here in this little diagram that Hyperion, that redwood tree that Steve climbed is even taller than the Statue of Liberty. The Statue of Liberty is 305 feet and 6 inches, and the Hyperion tree is 379 feet tall. Move myself again. This heading says giant plants, tiny plants. Plants can be tall, like a redwood tree, or short, like a daisy. Whatever their size, most plants have the same parts. They have roots that usually grow down into the soil. They also have stems that connect their roots to their leaves. Many plants also have flowers that make seeds, and some plants grow fruits. All these plant parts come in many different shapes and sizes. So here we've got a picture that is a diagram with labels. So this says flower, leaf, stem, and roots. And the caption here is sunflower plants. People eat the different parts of many plants. Which plant parts are these foods? So carrot, lettuce, and apple. If you want the answers to that, there on page 24, you can find the answers. Giant sequoia trees have very thick stems or trunks. A sequoia named the General Sherman tree has a huge trunk. It would take more than 20 adults holding hands to make a circle around its trunk. And then here we've got a label pointing to the trunk of General Sherman tree. This heading says underground plant parts. The roots of most plants grow underground. Roots take in water and nutrients from the soil. They also hold a plant in place and keep it from falling over. Some plants, such as sunflowers, have lots of roots that spread out in the soil. Others, such as carrot plants, have one main root called a taproot. So here is that carrot with the label. The taproot is right here, which is the carrot that we eat. And here's the label that says spreading roots, which are the roots underneath the sunflower. This says most roots grow underground from the bottom of a plant's stem. Some mangrove plants, however, have roots that grow out of their stems above the ground. Mangroves grow in water on seashores. So here are the mangrove roots, and also here are the mangrove roots. This heading says super stems. A plant stem carries water and nutrients from the roots to the rest of the plant. The stems, or trunks, of baobab trees can grow to be very fat. These trees grow in hot, dry deserts where it may not rain for up to 9 months. When rain does fall, the tree stores gallons of water in its trunk, ready for the dry times. The trunk of a large baobab tree can hold enough water to fill 50 bathtubs. So this map, the red parts on the map show us where baobab trees grow. So we see a little bit of red here, it grows there, and Africa has a lot of red, which is where a lot of baobab trees grow. Bamboo is a type of grass that grows in Asian countries such as China and Japan. One type of giant bamboo has the fastest growing stems of any plant. Its stems can grow as much as 3 feet or 1 meter in one day. So here's our label. This shows us a baobab tree, and this picture shows us a giant bamboo stem. This heading says, leaves make food. A plant's leaves make the food it needs for energy and to help it grow. Leaves do this using water, a gas from the air called carbon dioxide, and sunlight. Whether they are huge or tiny, all leaves can make food. One type of pygmy weed plant has some of the smallest leaves in the world. Each tiny leaf is the size of a pinhead. So this says a close-up view of pygmy stonecrop leaves, and this is a pinhead, for example. This says it's an actual size of a pygmy stonecrop leaves and a pinhead, so that's actual size. This one is zoomed in. This is how big they actually would be. This says some of the biggest leaves in the world grow on, this says Gunnera plants. One Gunnera plant grew a leaf that was 11 feet or 3.4 meters wide. So here we have a Gunnera plant leaf. This says go on a leaf hunt. Find the biggest and smallest leaves growing in a park or in your schoolyard. Use a ruler to measure them, then draw the leaves in a notebook. What a great idea for a fun activity to do. This heading says the biggest flower. Many plants grow flowers. The biggest flower in the world grows on a rainforest plant called Rafflesia. A huge flower bud opens into a giant flower that can be 3 feet wide. The flower makes tiny seeds inside small fruits called berries. People who live where Rafflesia flowers grow call them corpse flowers. The giant flowers got this name because they smell like a dead, rotting body or corpse. Ew, that is so gross. The Rafflesia plants with the biggest flowers grow in rainforests on Borneo and Sumatra, which are islands in Asia. So here on the map is those red parts where the Rafflesia flowers grow. Here's a Rafflesia flower bud, and there is a picture of what a Rafflesia flower looks like. Look at it compared to a human. That is the biggest flower I've ever seen. This heading says seeds make new plants. A seed can be as tiny as a speck of dust or bigger than a football. Inside every seed is all the material needed to grow a new plant. The tiniest seeds in the world belong to a type of orchid plant. If 300 of these seeds were laid end to end, they would only measure 1 inch long. So here's an orchid seed, and here's an orchid flower. The biggest and heaviest seeds in the world come from the Coco de Mer palm tree. Each of the tree's giant seeds can weigh up to 40 pounds. So here is the Coco de Mer palm tree. There is the Coco de Mer seed. And here's a map that says Coco de Mer palm trees grow wild on the Seychelles Islands. And that would be right here where it's red on the map. This heading says a supersized fruit. Some plants grow their seeds inside fruits, which help protect the seeds. A fruit can be small like a blueberry or big like a watermelon. The jackfruit tree produces the largest tree-growing fruits in the world. A jackfruit can be 3 feet long and weigh 100 pounds. That's as heavy as 320 baseballs. That's crazy. Each giant jackfruit may contain up to 500 seeds. There's one very large fruit that grows on the ground and can be even heavier than a jackfruit. People buy this fruit at Halloween. Can you guess what that fruit is? Yeah, a pumpkin. Good job. The outside of a jackfruit smells like rotting onions. The inside, however, tastes like a mixture of bananas and pineapples. So ick on the outside, but yummy on the inside. This is a picture of jackfruit. On the inside, you can see the seeds and the jackfruit. This heading says amazing plant bodies. There are hundreds of thousands of different plants in the world. Some have stems that are taller than 35-story skyscrapers, which is a really, really tall building. Others have seeds that are almost too small to see. The roots, stems, leaves, flowers, seeds, and fruits of plants all have important jobs to do. From tiny to gigantic, plant bodies are growing, producing food, and making seeds that will grow into new amazing plants. Giant pumpkins are the largest fruits in the world. People take part in contests to see who can grow the biggest one. Just one of these huge pumpkins can weigh more than 30 second graders. So that would be two of our classes in two of our second grade classes. That's crazy. Giant pumpkins. Here that label says, this says pumpkin, and it's pointing to the seeds on the inside. Alrighty, so that is our story for today. If you would like to go ahead and on your own read this science lab part, it's got some extra vocabulary for you to look at, but you are now free to do your gem board, to do your diamond planning sheet or ruby, emerald, or sapphire, whatever you feel comfortable doing. If you've got any questions about your choice board process, please feel free to ask your teacher. We would love to help you out. But I hope you enjoyed learning about how amazing plant bodies are and how they can either be really, really big or really, really small. Have fun showing what you learned, and I can't wait to read with you next time. Have fun, friends!